Hey, what is going on, guys? My name is Slickmoth, and I'm back again with another video, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking about the antagonist that I think will be present in Telltale's new Batman game coming out in 2016, which is actually unnamed. We don't have a name for it or anything. For example, they made a Borderlands game. I think many of you are aware of that, and they called it Tales from the Borderlands. However, they also made a Walking Dead game, and it's just called The Walking Dead, a Telltale game series. So I don't know if it'll be Batman, a Telltale game series. I don't think it'll be like Tales from Gotham, maybe. Who knows? I have no clue. But this is a highly requested video, and I'm glad to talk about it because, of course, Batman has the strongest rogue gallery in all of comics, and I can't wait to see how Telltale wields that rogue gallery, and they can use as many of these antagonists as they want, or as few, and I'm really looking forward to see what they do with it. So let's just dive right into this and get the big hitter out of the way, and that, of course, is the Joker. Now, one thing that I'll say straight away, and something that I've noticed, not only on the forums, but also in the comments of my videos and elsewhere, is that there is a kind of brewing sense of Joker fatigue, and it exists in only a small minority of Bat fans, and I've recognized it, I've seen it, and it mainly comes from the Arkham games, and it comes from elsewhere. It's going to be in the DCEU, Joker is. He was basically the star of the Dark Knight trilogy. Even though he's in one of the 3 movies, he pretty much stole the show, and is easily, when people think of the Dark Knight trilogy, they think of Heath Ledger's Joker. Beyond that, also the Arkham games. Every single Arkham game features Joker as the primary antagonist, even Arkham Origins and Arkham Knight, which marketed the game to not be featuring those main antagonists. Both of those featured Black Mask and Scarecrow, but in neither of those cases was that the actual truth. Joker was the primary antagonist in all 4 of the Arkham games. What I will say about people that are maybe thinking that they don't want to see Joker in this new Batman Telltale game, which again is in the minority, I think that the Joker has proved to be a timeless and kind of elastic character in terms of enjoyment, and I think a lot of people enjoy seeing him regardless of how many times that he's used, because he is kind of interpreted in a different way every time, and I can't wait to see Telltale's take on them if they decide to do him. So whether they include the Joker or not, I'm perfectly okay with it either way. I would love to see Telltale's interpretation of the Joker, but I would also love to see another villain take the forefront, who I'll be revealing and talking about very shortly. But either way, I believe that we should refrain from holding Telltale accountable to the choices of past creators. It is not the fault of Telltale that quite literally every single Arkham game featured the Joker as the primary antagonist, even when other villains were marketed to be the main antagonist. I'm looking at you, Origins and Knight. Telltale is the type of studio to be confident in the story that they want to tell, and they're going to tell that story. So if that story includes the Joker, I'm down for it. And another thing to keep in mind that I haven't mentioned yet, there is no guarantee that it will feature a consistent villain from episode 1 to episode 5 that is kind of the main bad guy. Some Telltale games, such as The Wolf Among Us, feature multiple villains, and it's kind of a convoluted villainy structure, and it's very similar to Batman Long Halloween, for example, where you don't really know who the bad guy is, and there's all kinds of different bad people, and kind of everybody's bad. Also, you have games like The Walking Dead Season 1 and 2, where no antagonist is featured for more than an episode or 2, so they could go either way. They could make it really focused on, the Bat family, or just Batman and Alfred and elsewhere, and focus on the internal tension there, or they could make it much more focused on the bad guys, good versus evil, in a 5-episode kind of way, and spread across the way. Telltale can do whatever way they want to. However, I will just say, I think we should wait until the game actually comes out before crucifying them. But part of me as well recognizes that the Batman rogue gallery is way too strong for them to pass up, so I think this may be the most villain-centric or antagonist-centric Telltale game that we've seen yet. So now that the Joker is out of the way, and I've clarified that I would love to see him if he's in there, if he's not, okay with me, let's move on to another antagonist I would love to see, and that is the Scarecrow. And one of the reasons that I would love to see the Scarecrow is specifically because I think he would fit in so well to this Telltale game. And the reason that he would fit in well is, for example, as Batman, you get fear toxin. That happens in Arkham Knight, for example, to compare to something you guys are more familiar with. And, you are kind of seeing through his eyes. The game's not a first-person game, at least not majority of it. They may go to a scene or two where you're first person, you're making choices that way, but large in part, it's not a first-person game or anything. So you get hit with the fear toxin, and you are kind of, what Bruce Wayne knows, and you're seeing things, think of Batman Begins, right, and you don't know what's going on. You're seeing things that aren't actually there. You're seeing the wrong thing, so you have to make decisions as Batman, split-second decisions, and even under the, Jonathan Crane's fear toxin. So you may make the wrong decision because what you are seeing, what you're hearing, and what you're sensing around you is bringing you misinformation, so you can kind of get into Batman's thought process as he, undergoes those adverse circumstances. I would love to to see that. I think I would just love to make choices under this intoxicated state that we are under the fear toxin. I still hold true that I would love to see a Wolf Among Us style fight that is a very hand-on-hand, brute kind of bare bones fight. Of course, Batman's probably going to be early on in his career in this game. I don't know that, I'm just guessing. So with that being said, he may not be a master of martial arts, or he may not be at the peak of his performance. So a great kind of hand-on-hand, dirty, gritty fight with Bane or another physically strenuous villain that Batman could face. There's a spew of them beyond Bane, but he's kind of the most iconic one that they could go with. And you could just get in a bare-on-bare, bare bones, hand-on-hand combat fight for like 5 minutes, just beat the crap out of each other. I would love to see something like that, just like the opening of The Wolf Among Us. Honestly, it is really hard to speculate on a game that we know so little about, and we don't even know the direction that they're going in terms of, is it more of an internal drama, a psychiatrical drama, or is it more of good versus evil, fighting bad guys? They could take it either way. Of course, every Batman, or Telltale game rather, has great dramatic moments and great internal, drama and everything like that. I just don't know what degree they're going to take it and what angle they're approaching Batman from. So until then, it is really hard to speculate. However, I will just say, villains I would love to see in Batman Telltale, Mad Hatter, Scarecrow, Joker. I would love to know your thoughts in the comment section below. Again, don't get too comfortable or assume that, all of those villains are going to make their way into the game, because in the past we've seen Telltale games where if there are any villains, they last for 1 or 2 episodes, and then it's back with the group, back with the good guys, following the good guys. However, a game like Batman, Batman is very much so a good versus evil story a lot of the time. What is the extenuating circumstance that is surrounding the Bat family, or Batman and Alfred, whoever's in the game, that is kind of causing or motivating or driving the action of the plot? So that has to exist, and that's probably going to exist from a bad guy, maybe corruption, politically. We don't know until the game actually comes out, and I'm so excited for it. I hope it's not too long of a wait. Not going to talk about that again since I did that in the last video, but I'm really looking forward to the game. I hope you guys are as well. That's my speculation on who I would love to see antagonist-wise in the game. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I'd love for you to pick one, or maybe a top 3, but at least, if nothing else, pick one bad guy you would love to see in this Batman Telltale game. I'd love to know your thoughts in the comment section below. Like the video if you enjoyed, subscribe for more Batman Telltale coverage, and we'll see you in the next one.